We all know about iceberg videos. There's one for basically any subject imaginable. Believe it or not, someone made an iceberg about Squid Island, which we'll discuss in this video. Even though the series has ended, I still felt like making this video. Credit goes to Ambitious Pizza 8408 for creating the iceberg. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's start at the top of the iceberg. Craner Came Back refers to how Squid Island existed as a result of Craner returning to the trio. After a month-long campaign surrounding his return, Slogo, Jelly, and Craner made a video playing in a new Minecraft world, which eventually became Squid Island. Borkco was Slogo's company that existed on Squid Island. It dominated the series and the server for a while, producing the most goods on the island. Borkco wasn't the only company that existed in the series, but it certainly was the most powerful. Slogo's company grew to the point it expanded outside the main island, but we'll get to that later. Presidential elections were a thing on Squid Island, which involved viewers voting for the president of Squid Island. Presidential polls were first made on a website called Straw Poll, but after Slogo's second term, the presidential election was moved to Reddit. Why Reddit? I have no idea. Taxes and tasks were incentives the Squid Island president placed as part of running Squid Island. Every time the trio recorded a video together, the president could decide what taxes and tasks to give to the others. They could range from food being paid to having to build a farm on the island. Dictatorships were a common theme on Squid Island, such as when Joey extended his term as mayor to 4 weeks, leading to fans labeling him a dictator. Slogo also faced accusations of being a dictator while president of Squid Island, as he started giving out unreasonable tasks and taxes to Jelly and Craner. Were Jelly and Slogo actually dictators? You can decide. Welcome Back to Squid Island is talking about the intro that Jelly, Slogo, and Craner would do at the beginning of each episode. Now that the series is over, the phrase has become nostalgic for fans within the community. King Glowy was the squid by which the island was ruled. He was specifically the island's monarch. There were 3 King Glowys throughout the series: King Glowy I, King Glowy II, and King Glowy III. Slogo named the ruling squid King Glowy on November 22nd, 2023. Sadly, King Glowy is no longer in power due to Squid Island getting blown up. Let's move on to Tier 2. The Cowtown Wiki is a fandom wiki dedicated to documenting every Troll Town series, including Squid Island. This wiki is where I get most of the information in my Squid Island videos, so it's a beneficial resource. Slogo has acknowledged the Cowtown Wiki both on and off camera. It was also the place where the seed for Squid Island was found. The Squid Island Reddit was a subreddit dedicated to the Squid Island series. Fans can make posts relating to the series and talk with each other about Squid Island. I was actually a moderator of the Squid Island subreddit when it existed, so I had a hand in moderating what was shared. At its peak, the Squid Island subreddit gained over 27,000 members. Sadly, all good things must come to an end. The Squid Island subreddit was shut down the week of August 19th, 2024, marking the end of its existence. The mayor was the first government-type position that existed on Squid Island. It was meant to be, quote, the highest position of authority of the city of Squid Island. Joey came up with the idea of Squid Island mayor after his temple was destroyed. The position lasted from December 8, 2023 to February 7, 2024. If you want to learn more about how the trio performed as mayor, make sure to watch this video here. Bork was Slogo's pet wolf on Squid Island. He was Slogo's longest living pet and the only one to make it to season 2 of the series. Bork was one of 3 pets from the B-Town series that were revived on Squid Island. He became one of the most important pets in the series, being the namesake of Slogo's company, Borkco. If you want to learn more about Bork's story, feel free to watch this video here. Beanie was Jelly's pet bee that existed on Squid Island. Like Bork, Beanie was one of 3 B-Town pets that were revived on Squid Island. Jelly cared a lot about Beanie, as seen in his videos. Beanie's story sadly ended on March 20th, 2024, as Slogo accidentally drowned Beanie trying to save him from Jelly's lava tower. I made a video reviewing Beanie's story, so make sure to go watch it after this video. The Squid Isles were a series of islands that the trio lived on. It was also the name of season 2 of the Squid Island series. Slogo, Jelly, and Craner lived on Alpha, Jungle, and Pirate Island. Some other islands included the Pontoon and Turtle Sanctuary. The Squid Isles will be where the remainder of the Squid Island series would take place. Humpy was Craner's pet camel that existed on Squid Island. Craner adopted Humpy on April 13, 2024, following the passing of a law requiring citizens of Squid Island to own a pet. Craner cared a lot about Humpy, naming a company after him, and even having a statue of him built. Humpy's story ended on June 28, 2024, as he died after Joey had covered the grove in lava. Humpy most likely walked into the lava, causing his sudden death. I also made a video going over Humpy's story, so make sure to give it a watch. The Book of Laws is pretty much self-explanatory. It was a book complete with laws that applied to Squid Island. The Squid Island mayor could add, modify, or remove laws in the Book of Laws. It existed from December 13, 2023 to February 7, 2024, when it got burned along with the mayor's helmet. Let's move on to Tier 3. Joey builds pyramids everywhere refers to Joey consistently building pyramids in every new area he finds in the Squid Island series. In total, Joey has built a total of 8 pyramids, which are as follows: the Joey Temple, Floating Squid Island, Joey's Deep Slate Pyramid, Joey's Igloo Pyramid, Joey's Treehouse Pyramid, Joey's Obsidian Pyramid, the Beanie Co Pyramid, and the Shelly Temple. It got to the point where fans and even the other trio members started criticizing Joey for not building anything else. Assassination of Joey is about when Slogo assassinated Joey as mayor of Squid Island. This resulted from Joey extending his term from 1 week to 4 weeks, effectively making him a dictator. Slogo pulled this off by planting TNT under the Squid Island Town Hall, which he then activated by flipping a hidden switch. Joey's assassination led to a lot of chaos, climaxing in the trio going their separate ways. The Squid Bank was a bank created by Slogo during Season 2 of Squid Island. It was built by Slogo to help protect his valuables. Physically, it's fucking large and originally made out of polished diorite. Slogo replaced this with quartz on July 23, 2024. As for the bank itself, Joey and Craner opened accounts to store their valuables. Joey robbed the Squid Bank on August 2nd, 2024, which was able to happen due to it having no security. Sadly, the Squid Bank was destroyed in the Squid Island IP leak incident on August 6th. The vault most likely refers to the one underneath the Squid City Town Hall. This was where Squid Island's wealth was stored, including items such as diamonds, iron, gold, and more. All of this wealth came from the taxes placed on the citizens of Squid Island. The Squid Island vault got blown up on May 30th, 2024, due to Slogo setting off Joey's TNT trap that was underneath. New Squid Island was an island created by Slogo after he assassinated Jelly. He founded the island on January 30th, 2024, bringing many valuable items from Squid Island. Slogo also attempted to bring King Glowy, although the latter ended up dying on New Squid Island. In all reality, New Squid Island was just an excuse for Slogo to become a dictator and boss the other trio members around. The New Squid Island uprising also occurred here, where the trio went their separate ways following chaos on the island. The Constitution of Squid Island is, well, the Constitution of Squid Island. It was ratified on April 10, 2024, and contains all of the principles that Squid Island must follow. Some of these principles include that the president was to be elected by fans, a president can serve 2 3-week terms at most, every citizen is taxed once a week at most, and the president can decide what tax to place. Of course, the Squid Island Constitution became useless after the island was destroyed. Let's move on to Tier 4. Humpy Co. was Craner's company that existed on Squid Island. As I mentioned earlier, the company was named after Craner's pet camel Humpy. It was created on April 26, 2024 and went by the name Craner Co. However, it wasn't until May 1st that the company was renamed Humpy Co. Some factories that Humpy Co. owned included a bamboo factory, a cactus factory, a pumpkin factory, and a boat factory. Craner left Humpy Co. in mid-June 2024, after which Joey revived the company. Humpy Co. ultimately ended when Squid Island was destroyed. Joey Inc. was a company that Joey created on May 4th, 2024. It was a revival of the Joey Incorporated company from the Pigtown series. Joey Inc. mainly focused on security systems and installation, as evidenced by installing a security system on Slogo's land. Joey Inc. also entered the field of emerald sales, which was seen in a factory Joey made using cured villagers. After Craner was elected president of Squid Island, he forced Joey to change the name of Joey Inc. to Beanie Co., which was met with backlash from fans. Joey Inc. ultimately shut down after Squid Island was destroyed in July 2024. Bork Island was an island located north of Squid Island that Bork Co. owned. Slogo built a leather and meat factory on Bork Island, which marked the first factory built on said island. He also commissioned Jelly to build a statue of Bork on the island. However, Jelly instead built a dead dog statue out of bone blocks. Slogo also built a gunpowder factory on Bork Island, which ended up being used to supply Craner with gunpowder to make TNT. In a way, Bork Island indirectly led to Squid Island being destroyed by Slogo and Craner. Shelly was Jelly's pet turtle introduced in Season 2 of Squid Island. She was found in a boat somewhere in the Squid Isles, after which Jelly adopted her. Craner was the one who suggested Jelly name her Shelly. Jelly built her a sanctuary on his island called Shelly Bay, but most of the time, she swims away and heads to either Turtle Sanctuary Island, Pirate Island, or the ocean in general. A temple was built on Jelly's island called the Shelly Temple, named after her. Sadly, Shelly was one of the pets killed in the Squid Island IP leak incident. Cad was the fourth pet that Slogo owned in the Squid Island series. He adopted her on May 3rd, 2024, while walking around in a forest. Unlike Bork, Cad's appearance uses that of the newly added wolf skins from the 1.20.5 update. Cad is notable in that she was Bork's girlfriend, marking the first time a romantic relationship had taken place in the series. Cad's story ended on July 9th, 2024, as Slogo left her to look after the grove. Sanctuary most likely refers to the numerous sanctuaries that existed throughout the Squid Island series. The first sanctuary was a fish sanctuary that was located underneath the Humpy Cove boat factory. If I'm correct, the second sanctuary was the tree sanctuary that was part of the Humpy Cove boat factory. Lastly, the third sanctuary was the turtle sanctuary on an island in the Squid Isles. If I missed any sanctuaries or got one wrong, let me know in the comments below. Death of Beanie and Floppy refers to the causes of death for Beanie and Floppy. As mentioned earlier, Slogo accidentally drowned Beanie while he, Craner, and Jelly were attempting to save him. As for Floppy, he was killed by Jelly and given to Craner, who ended up eating him. This was not the first time Craner ate his pet fish, as he had previously done so in the Pigtown series. Both of their deaths were honestly very preventable. Melvin and Perry were two of Jelly's pets that existed in the Squid Island series. Melvin was a gray cat, while Perry was a parrot. Jelly adopted the two on December 17, 2023 and April 14, 2024. Melvin and Perry were pretty well liked among fans, and Jelly cared quite a bit about the two. It got to the point where after fans noticed Melvin had not appeared in quite a while, Jelly went on a search for him. Melvin and Perry's stories ended on July 6, 2024, when Craner and Slogo blew up Squid Island. Let's move on to Tier 5, the final one for this video. The Secret Grove was an underground base built by Slogo that was located underneath Squid Island. The name Secret Grove was a reference to the original grove located away from Squid Island. This area was where Slogo and Craner planned the Squid Island Revolution. When Season 1 of the series ended, Cad was left to look after the Secret Grove. Whether it was damaged in the destruction of Squid Island is unknown. Beanie and Humpy 2 were the second versions of Beanie and Humpy that existed on Squid Island. Anyway, their entire purpose was to act as replacements for Beanie and Humpy. Jelly adopted Beanie 2 and moved him into the Beanie Memorial Statue, where he lived for the rest of Season 1. Meanwhile, Humpy 2 was gifted to Craner as a replacement for Humpy. Craner rejected Humpy 2, however, but allowed him to live on his land. Both Beanie and Humpy 2 ultimately died during the destruction of Squid Island. Gladiator fights refers to two fights involving Craner and Jelly that occurred in the Squid Island series. The first fight occurred on November 29, 2023, and resulted in Craner winning. It was held to settle a feud between him and Jelly. The second fight was held on March 14, 2024, and resulted in Jelly winning a section of Craner's land. I made a video talking about this, so make sure to watch it after finishing this one. Craner Loves Boats was a running joke in the Squid Island series that revolved around Craner's love for boats. He most notably showed this through saying the phrase, "Boat time!" Also, whenever the trio explored to nearby rivers or oceans, Craner always brought a boat with him. You could argue that this peaked with Craner building a boat factory on his land. It was a fun meme throughout the Squid Island series. Followers of King Henward was a cult founded by Sluggo to protest, quote, the new regulations and chaos under the Craner administration resulting in the practical closing of Borkco. It was centered around Henward, a squid who Sluggo claimed to be the real king of Squid Island. Sluggo convinced Craner to join the followers of King Henward, increasing its member count to 2. However, the cult was effectively disbanded after the grove was destroyed and integrated into Squid Island. The end most likely refers to how the trio has gone to the end throughout the series. Craner was the first member to travel to the end, defeating the Ender Dragon and gathering tons of loot. He grabbed the 9 shulker boxes and brought them to the overworld, but somehow lost one of them. Sometime later, Jelly and Sluggo went to the end while Craner renovated Squid Island. In reality, this served as a way for Craner to plant TNT all over the island. With that, we have reached the end of part 1 of the Squid Island iceberg. Part 2 will be released sometime after this one, so make sure to look out for that. With that said, feel free to watch this video next.